Okay. And we are live. We are live, 5-9 podcast. Robert McTyre. Have a very special guest today. Joining me from the Hollywood trenches, Mr. Jesse Saenz. Been so gracious with his time to join us. And thanks for coming on the show. How are you today, sir?
Doing all right, man. Just getting off work. I've been slinging pipe all day and breaking my back, and just trying to save the world the best I can.
Okay, all right. So, uh, for those who are watching, so what do you do for a living? I know, but they don't know. So what do you do for a living?
Yes, sir.
This
So
crazy business.
first off, my name is Jesse Saenz. I'm 26 years old. I got into my Hollywood career at about 22, 23 years old. So I've been in the union now for about almost 4 years, 3 years. 728 set lighting. I do mostly rigging for that. Friggin' electric. As far as right now, currently, I just got into the drilling industry. So I'm been working full time with it. I'm trying to pivot off into drilling and oil industry as well. As far as Hollywood, I'm still active there. Just as you know, in the trenches, there's not much to come by, and I just got tired of the piecing it together game, and I'm waiting to see what happens after summer. I mean, that's really the only next real thing of what to judge for. And I say that because obviously that's when Gavin Newsom's in Hollywood incentives, kick in, and that kicks in the summer apparently. So
Mhm.
really, that's going to be the time to judge if stuff starts popping off, and if it's time to get back into Hollywood. But we'll see what happens.
So have you post this whole COVID thing and the fires and everything and the strikes and all that other stuff that we had going on? Have you been able to find work? Is it like is it I because I haven't worked all year so far, and I've been doing other stuff.
Yeah, yeah. No, I hear you, man. Am I able to find work? Yes, here and there. Like I said, I did get tired of the whole piecing it together, hoping, hopping from one thing to another, hoping for the best. I was most recently on this show from Fox Studios. I think I did that about 2, 3 weeks ago. It was just a wrap up thing. That same best boy who got me on for that, he had offered me about a week or two prior to that, but I had turned it down because I got into this drilling job. So there's been a little bit of work here and there. Obviously, my usual suspects, my usual gaffers that I roll with, they're down. They're down for the count. So it's just been really just this guy, this best boy I know at Fox right now. I think his show's wrapping up as well. I think the show was The Last Thing He Said, starring like Jennifer Gardner.
Mhm.
So that was one of the last shows I was on. Prior to that, I was also bouncing on The Rookie, which is shooting out of Paramount. My uncle used to be the best boy rigging electric for that. So I had an in right there. I think that show starts again, I think early summer, May, June or something like that.
Mm.
So maybe we'll see if I hop onto that a little bit. But yeah, as far as getting onto a crew and getting onto work, I haven't been on a solid crew as a core guy, and I'm usually a core guy. I haven't been a core guy since, sheesh, almost a year and a half, 2 years ago now. And yeah, that was actually my last core crew thing that I was on. Do you know Spike Osorio, the
Yeah,
man guy?
yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Right, yeah,
God
man.
rest his soul.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was one of his dudes. I was real close with that guy.
What?
And
Yeah, I remember. I remember seeing Spike on the lot when I worked on All American and a couple other things. I worked on the flight attendant. I mean, yeah, we would. He was. I was doing rigging and transpo. He introduced. Introduced himself as Spike. I thought it was a really cool nickname,
yeah,
and I was. I was shocked. I was like, dude.
Yeah, dude, those same stages that he passed on, I was literally in the trenches right there with him. It could have been me as well,
Jesus.
literally. So, yeah, I was there. I could attest to it. I went to his whole little candlelight vigil and the thing that they had at Local 80 for it. And I really did want to step on stage and say something, but I wasn't too familiar with the people, and I waited till after, and I gave his wife a hug, and I told her that I'm sorry for the loss, and all that good stuff. It was sad, but really what I wanted to get up on stage and say was like, hey, all these executives, all these business agents, all you guys show up after someone dies. We
Mhm.
never see you guys going through the studio lots before, like you want to show up when when tragedy strikes, and so I felt like someone needs to come on the stage and call those guys out, because it's like, yeah, sure, they show up, but where's their advocacy, prior to something bad happening? And I'll give you a great example, Robert. I don't know if you've worked at Quixote Studios. I think right off of the five.
I know, no, I haven't worked there. I pass there all the time, but I haven't worked there.
So I did that maybe a year or a couple years ago. I was there for a little thing. And I will say, Robert, that place, literally the perms are held together by grip chain. Like it's nothing of what you would see at Warner Brothers or anything like that. And that's just a case waiting for someone to die, and then they'll finally do something about it. And sadly, that's the nature of the industry, dude. And it sucks to see that. And like I said, I was close with Spike. I was one of his core guys, and dude, that could have been me, man. Straight up, I could have been one of those guys that died as well. And it's
Yeah,
it's it's a sucky thing.
yeah. I always, I worked in the perms on Shining Vale, and we would have to hoist cables, and we're slinging fur rod and bandit, and we're just slamming piles of just that on these wooden planks,
Yep.
and we're sweating our asses off, and we're trying to get it done. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, can this shit hold? Does anybody do with the weights and balances? And I'm prepared to grab onto something at the moment's notice that I feel something is going to fall, because when you look over that railing, I mean, it's 60 feet down.
No, I hear you,
you
man.
know and I mean, we get paid really well to do that, but when you have to lean over, you know for the and operate the mule, which is a chain that brings the cables up and whatever up and down.
Yes.
I mean, you got to be really careful, and I've seen things, people walking out there, not harnessed and grabbing things, because
Yeah.
it's faster and more efficient. And yes, they're very good at what they do, but I've seen some acrobatics you would not believe.
No, I hear you, man. Yeah, on that note, dude, it's like when you're working in the perms, it's, you have to be fearless,
It's a construction job.
because if you're not fearless for that, you really are hanging on by God's grace up there, because any wood can snap, the floor could snap with all the weight of all the four-aught everywhere.
Yeah,
The terrible part about it all, and I think the deepest I got into about whose responsibility is to take care of it. And I think the deepest information I got about it was back when I was working at MBS for a Star Wars show. And they basically, what happened, the takeaway I had was the studio passes the buck. They don't care whether or not it's, safe or not. They pass the buck to whatever production is working there currently. And as far as tying off up in the perms, their official stance or position is they would prefer that construction come up and maintain the perms, not the studio themselves. And that's about as far as I got into who is in charge of that. And that's
mm,
it's I think that's fucked up, because at the end of the day, the studio should be in charge of the safety of that, not the whatever production is shooting that day. And I don't know, man.
yeah. I
It's
mean,
crazy. I love the rigging game. Don't get me wrong. I'm good at it. I'm strong at it.
yeah,
I roll with the big dogs. And, like I said, you got to be fearless with it. But, there's a lot of things that people don't talk about. People,
No.
people overlook. People, just another day in the life type of thing. But when you're close to someone who passes, and it could have been you, and you're on those same stages, it's tough to go through. And looking back on it all, it's like, damn, I really made it by the grace of God, and that's
Yeah.
something I'm grateful for, I guess.
When I read the various articles in Hollywood Reporter and Variety, and they mentioned the incident and the show it was on, and you know, it just felt so like, I just felt it was so surface. Like it was
Yep,
just so much more to it. Like this is a person, we went to coffee with. We had lunch. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is a whole human being, and
definitely.
you know, I understand out of respect they don't disclose the details of what exactly and how everything, but um, yeah, I was outraged, and then but like I say, I've you know, those perms are these are old. These sound stages are old. They're not modern. I mean, they're made to get a project in there and out.
Yep.
You go in there, and in the perms, people scribble notes like Batman 1989.
Yeah.
People who were on previous productions, it's like like caveman drawings. You'll see remnants of memories from other productions, stickers and all kinds of stuff. But
I
uh,
throw a tag down here and there too,
of
just for the
course,
for namesake.
it's immortal. You got to immortalize your name.
Yep.
There's a little, I got to sign. You got to sign your name somewhere. Be part of the history. That's
I
how we
agree.
do
I
it.
agree.
But but yeah. So so um, so let me ask you. So you know, I believe that for Hollywood, there's a club within a club where it's like, you know, once you get past the velvet rope, there's a back room, and I call it sort of the boom boom room, where it's like there are people that are set lighting technicians who are out there looking for work, and then there's the boom boom room of people who it's a little bit easier. Do you think such a thing exists in local 728 or the other various locals? Has that been your experience? Because I'll tell you my experience, but what do you think on that?
I think for sure there's something like that. Is it as connected? It'll just go up to the local room itself, like local 728. Kind of probably, but I think it varies from show to show.
Mhm.
I'm sure you've experienced it. If you're not related, or if you're not good buddies with the gaffer or the best boy, you're really just a donkey, And
Yeah.
I've experienced that, and I'll give you an example. So my uncle, he's a best boy. He was a ACLT for the rookie for a while, and then he stepped down when I just started working on that show this last year. And yeah, dude, if you're not part of that inner crew of,
Or girlfriend or wife or boyfriend.
yeah. Wait, what?
I said or girlfriend, wife, or boyfriend of the related person.
Yeah, like
ACLT.
if you're not in that in crew, like, yeah, dude, honestly, it sucks. But you're just another donkey, you're just another cattle, and until you break through and like it's already you have to be exceptional enough just to get into the union.
Yeah.
It's hard to do.
Yeah.
But as far as after that, yeah, I agree with you, man. Either you're in the in crowd or you're not, and that you carry that. That's carried from show to show, crew to crew.
Yeah.
That's just the nature of the beast. And so I agree with you there, man. Like it's 100% a real thing. No matter how hard an individual might work, no matter how good that individual's work might be, it means nothing if you're not having relations with the department head or the best boy, unfortunately.
Yeah, like I say, part of this job is like you have to be great at your craft. You need to know the
Yep.
equipment, how to do the job, show up on time, be a normal human being, communicate with people. But there's also another part where you have to sell yourself. You can't be a wallflower. You're applying for your next job,
Yep.
and you know, no, if you don't raise your hand and say, "Hey, I'm looking to, be hired on your next project," um,
Yeah.
without
Closed
being
mouth.
annoying, you know, um, a closed mouth doesn't get fed in this business.
Exactly.
So, do you have any advice for people wanting to get into this crazy industry? Despite everything going on, and you know, Hollywood CPR is still going on, and they're
Yeah.
trying to get back. They're trying to get in. Do you have any advice for people trying to get in?
Man. I mean, as far as Hollywood CPR, getting in, the advice I could say is you have to do what the other people next to you just aren't doing. So, and what I mean by that is you gotta show to, whoever it might be, the main teacher or the main people of the program or someone who might get you some days. You have to show that, you want to be there. And that means honestly showing up at least 30 minutes early every day. At least in the beginning to prove yourself. That's like a main important thing that everyone looks for. All the old heads look for. If you could display that, it makes you stand out just doing that alone. As far as anything else, it's part of it is get off your damn phone. Put
Mm.
your cell phone in your bag or in your pocket and just get off the damn phone. You know, nowadays, everyone's stuck on their phone. Everyone's, whenever they get a moment and they're not doing anything else, they're on their phone. But in this industry, you can do that, but if you're trying to prove yourself and get in, you need to show that you don't even have a phone type of vibe, because and the reason be is because going back to the whole donkey thing is the people who are in charge of the hiring or whatever, they want to know that this new guy, okay, he's dedicated. He's willing to forego all the distractions and really show up and be present. And that's very important. And aside from that, I will say you've got to be very, very hungry and you've got to have a lot of finesse. You've got to have a lot of, I'll give you an example. Before I got into the union, I was proving myself, getting onto PA, being a PA. I got onto a PA list for MTV. I was able to, and this was during the time of COVID, so I was also getting some COVID PA work, which was a joke. It was easy work or whatever, but as long as you're in the building, hey man, you could slap it on your resume. As long as you're in the building, hey man, you're shaking hands with people who can get you your next job. And as far as advice to people coming into the industry or wanting to come in, you got to stand out. Unfortunately, you you've got to stand out. You got to have some good resume skills in the sense that you're able to work for a big company and bam, that looks good for you. Because honestly, at the end of the day, this is a perception based industry all the way through and through. So if you can make yourself, on P's and Q's and make everything look great for yourself on paper, then people are not going to have an issue hiring you. And beyond that, in person, in the flesh, like I said, you got to show up early every time, put your phone away every time. You got to be present. You know what I mean? And there's such a thing as the hurry up and wait, right? That I'm sure everyone in the industry is familiar with. And where I'm going with that is you've got to, beyond hurry up and wait, there's anticipation. You got to be making the right moves, put yourself in the position of, okay, what's going to happen next? Let me jump ahead right now. We're not doing anything. And let me set myself up perfectly for when it's time to rush and throw some work down. So, uh, I
I
said a
always
lot.
say, I always say free hands. You're like, okay, what you going on? Never be like just standing around. Free hands.
Exactly.
What you need? What you need? What you need, man? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Get that
being
light.
very helpful. I'll give you another example. I was on a PA thing maybe 6 months ago or something, and they hired me as a PA, but they knew I had union experience and lighting experience and all that. And beyond that, that day I was working with the location manager, I was working with the art department, I was working with sound department. I was bouncing around. I was being as helpful as can be. And they love that. The production manager, when they see a PA going above and beyond like that, they want that guy back. And trust me, they called me back. And trust me, that's one thing if you kind of have that mindset, if you're able to talk to anyone and help anyone, that makes you stand out right there. Instead of staying with your little group and owning your little department, that's only going to get you so far. You kind of have to be a little bit of a butterfly in the sense that you got to hop around and help this person massage them this way, and you got to have that finesse to be able to do that, balance your workload, and handle what you got going on your own.
Wow. Well, that is sage advice. Thank you so much. Like, real quick, can you like say some of the things? You've been in the union. Can you talk about some of the things you've worked on since you've been, working in the union? Anything some of the, viewers out here in Facebook land may have heard of?
Yeah, yeah. I guess I'll give you my most notable stuff. Uh, so I've been on two Star Wars shows. I got into the
Ooh.
union on a Star Wars show. That was my first show that got me in.
Oh wow. Okay.
I got in on the Obi-Wan Kenobi show.
Oh nice.
I grinded. I, I got in through the Hollywood CPR program as a trainee. I was selected, chosen literally by Disney. They reached out to me.
Wow.
Like I didn't reach out to them at all. Like they reached out to me. It was a one-way thing. And
Wow.
I took the opportunity, and like Slim Shady says, you got to lose yourself in the moment.
Yeah.
He's and I did that for like the
But
show
dude, you
went
worked
on
on a
for like
Star
6 months.
Wars. Oh my God. Did you see a
Yeah,
stormtrooper the first day, or did you see Vader or Obi-Wan the first day, or?
I mean, I don't know. It all blurred together when I look back at it now, but
Wow.
I mean, yeah, I saw them all, dude. It was amazing. It was exceptional. I don't know if you know the Obi-Wan Kenobi
Of
show.
course.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I saw
Yes.
all of them. I saw Anakin. I saw Obi-Wan Kenobi. Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
Ran
Oh
into him quite
wow.
a few times. He has a nice Volkswagen collection. He has these microbuses and all this cool stuff. He's real cool. Um, as far as the other characters, yes, I did run into them. Anakin Skywalker, I ran into him. I said
Hayden.
what's up to him,
Okay.
lobby or something like that.
Yeah.
I forgot what happened, but I was like, "Hey, how you doing, man?" It's just something real short.
Yeah.
And he responded and all that good stuff. But at the time, I was just grinding. It was grind mode, and I had to prove myself, and I was just a good soldier. And
Mm-hmm. You weren't starstruck. You were just focused.
yes, exactly. Like I was, literally, how it goes when you're in this. Like, and I'll give you an example. The way that show went, there was 7 stages. So we were constantly walking around the whole lot in between the stages. And obviously, when you do that, you're going to run into who knows who in the next store.
Right.
And so, yeah, that was kind of amazing. Did I get starstruck or anything like that? No, it was more of just like, all right, just keep going.
Opportunity, like you was there to get your days and
Exactly.
get it going. I feel that.
And
Yeah.
it was a great experience too. I was with a great crew. They taught me a lot. I learned a lot of good stuff. And it was sink or swim, and I was swimming. I was swimming with the sharks, with the big dog. And yeah, that was cool. So that was obviously, so that's a noteworthy one. That was my first one that got me into the union. Um, I worked on a whole assortment of shows ever since then, but
Mhm.
mostly I stuck to TV shows. I have all the TV contacts and people like that. I don't really have any commercial contacts, so I haven't really worked any of that. I'm willing to. I haven't met those people. I've been
Okay.
offered maybe a couple times, but
Are-
uh, I've
So,
been
so
on other.
anybody who's has the hiring or looking for a set lighting technician, do you have social media where they could reach you?
Yeah, of course.
You on Instagram or?
Yes, sir. Instagram and Facebook.
Okay, so just look you up, and there you go, and get you on a well-paid production.
Yes, sir. Yes. Yeah. It's not in my bio or anything. It's not like front page, 728, because that's not my whole identity
Okay,
like other people.
okay,
But yeah, I'm more than willing if people want to reach out to me. It can happen. I have great experience, and if I could touch more on the noteworthy shows that I've
sure.
been on. I went on to a second Star Wars show a year after that. I did the Skeleton Crew, which just came out.
Oh, that was really good.
Yes,
That was really good.
was an experience. That was cool.
Yeah.
Uh, so I did that. I've been on 911. I've been on The Rookie. I've been on, like I
Rookie's
said,
good too. A lot of stunts in the rookie.
yeah, that show's all over
Yeah.
LA. Good Lord, what other shows? A lot of stuff out of Warner Brothers a couple times. Uh, I would say Fox Studios. I've done quite a bit there. I would literally have to go down the list because it's just in my it's
After a while, it becomes a blur.
yeah, it becomes a blur, man. And
Yeah, it's like, you just go on to the next thing. Did the check clear? Yes, it did. Okay, great. Can I get some more of that? Yes.
yep, no, for sure. And aside from that stuff, I was also into non-union stuff. I was one of my most noteworthy things with that was I was working a Skycam crew for events and NFL games and college games, and so I would go around from different arenas and stadiums rigging up that stuff, and that was pretty awesome too.
Nice.
Outside of a 728, I will say. Um, but yeah, man, I mean the overall experience of what I've been through, it's been beautiful. Obviously, you get fed breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you get the snacks all day, and that's all cool. People love that. Um, for me though, individually, I'm just I'm always about being better than how I was yesterday, being better than how I was last year, finding nobility in myself and, being my best today. And if I could throw down my rig today, wherever that might be, wherever studio that might be, whatever show that might be, I just want it to be the best and I want to give it my all. And that's kind of the mentality I've always had. And I've always had the mentality of doing the job right, doing the job safely, correctly, and making sure everyone's happy, getting everyone's blessing. And that's kind of the way it's got to go if you want to be successful in this industry.
Wow. Okay. Well, these are. I mean, this is just gold. I'm a. I love the actor studio when John Lipton asks various questions. So I have sort of a thing I do where I ask you a question, then you kind of complete. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's try it.
All right. So when I wake up, the first thing I do is
Be speak gratitude into my life, and count my blessings, and you know love my dogs because I have my dogs I usually sleep
oh, you
with,
got
and
dogs. Okay.
and I feed them first thing or what have you, and yeah, just be grateful. If more people practice more gratitude in their life, believe me, law of attraction, the other end of that is abundance. So there's a cheat code for you.
All right. Wow. Uh, LeBron or Kobe?
Kobe, for sure.
Kobe. Okay. All right.
I mean, LeBron's got all the stats. Don't get me wrong. He's
Right.
he's he's the goat on paper, But line them up prime, probably Kobe would give the show.
Kobe's clutch.
Yep.
uh, my favorite way to relax is by.
Man, depends how much money I have and depends where I'm at. I don't know. That's a tough question.
Okay. Um,
I could want to go to, I don't know, Vegas and go to a resort somewhere or, relax and see a sunset view at the beach. I love doing that. Yeah, things like that.
all right. My ideal day would include what?
Ideal day. Man, that's a tough question. Good exercise, I would say. I like working out, keeping active. That makes me happy. Ideal day. Somehow squeeze in my dogs, do some kind of activity. I love my dogs. They drive me crazy, but they're my world. Um, and yeah, and I will say, ideal day, giving love and sharing love and giving gratitude and giving service to my loved ones and speaking and having good conversation and discussing ideas and vision and trying to enlighten others as well. And I would say that would be an ideal day, I guess. Eating good food is probably part of that for sure.
Okay. What's your favorite food?
Favorite food. Well, this year for my birthday, I tried this new Chinese food spot. So I've been loving Asian food.
Okay. All right.
Uh,
And my last question. People would describe me as
People would describe me as Jesus. That's a great question. I savage for my goals.
okay.
People would describe me as, reliable and someone who could get the job done, whatever you want to have done, and someone who will come through for you in ways that others won't, in a competent way, like I'm all about doing things correctly, moving smooth. It's not about moving fast and trying to get to the finish line so quick. My focus is on moving correctly. And I
Mm,
feel like if anyone really knows me, they know that I try to move correctly.
well, I've had the pleasure of working with you, and you certainly do that. You're very focused, and you're everything that you have said on this call, uh, for sure.
Thank you.
Um, ladies and gentlemen, Jesse Saenz, thanks for joining us in Hollywood Trenches, giving
Yes,
us
sir.
game. Hit him up. Thank you for your time, sir.
All right. Thank you. You have a good night. God bless.
Thank you. You too. All